It's Monday. Happy President's Day from Action Trip. Somehow my Serbian boss has today off, and me, the one who's in America with this American holiday, am in the office. I'm not sure how this happened. Someone got screwed here. I thought it was
Hmm.
me, but
The absurdity of the world we live in. But look, if it's of any consolation, I mean, I did not leave my house like all day. I did for like a few minutes in the morning, and I was caught in this like worst storm in the last, I don't know, few years.
lovely.
But that's it. I'm just like not at the office. I'm still working at home, if that means anything to you. It's just like officially not an office day. So there, lots of stuff to do. We had like a busy, uh, dynamic beginning of the week, which is always nice.
Yes, just slightly. As I am waiting to be able to download my review code for Street Fighter V, because it releases tomorrow, but I got my review code today and I can't do anything with it. You know, um, I don't know if I'll get my review done by tomorrow, but maybe I should wait anyway for when the masses come online and see how that
You don't have
runs.
to rush it, as far as I'm concerned, but I don't know. They did wait for even like giving out the codes, didn't they? For the last like minute.
For a lot of sites, yes.
Mm.
Like I know Game Informer has had it for a while, but even they say that they're not posting their review until it goes to the public because they want to see how the
Into a
ratings
good, yeah,
matches.
yeah.
Which and
Right.
I kind of agree with, and I think that Game Revolution's doing the same thing. Um, PC Gamer said they didn't get their code till today, um, so
Yeah, no,
we're all in good
yeah.
company. But I think that they released the codes late because of the online reason, because they did the same thing with Destiny. They did not release the game until like I think about a couple days before it released, and in the review packet they even specifically said, "Do not review this game until it goes online and you can see how it works with other people," which on the surface it's like, oh, they want to make sure that their servers work, but I think really what it is this game is boring as shit unless you play with others, and you're probably not going to give a favorable review unless you play with your friends.
you s- you sound very very open-minded about the whole thing. Um,
Hey, honestly, when I got it, I thought, oh, I was on their side. I was like, that makes total sense. Like, wait till the servers are, just so they can see
yeah,
like how the
yeah, yeah,
stress
yeah.
is. And now then,
Sure,
but
sure.
then hearing about when Taken King came out about how okay, this is what the game should have been. Like, maybe they knew it was boring as shit. And that's why they said, no, you really need to play this friends, otherwise it doesn't work. And people even said when the game came out that it's only fun with other people.
Right, right. I mean, it does make sense with games like that. I mean, Mortal Kombat as well, and it is
But
kind of a competitive multiplayer thing, or I don't know if does it have co-op or something like a kind
I
of
don't know
a
if it
not a co-op, but
no,
like you,
it has to have local co-op because of fighting
yeah, yeah, yeah.
tournaments.
Right. So that, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's early with these games to really judge. I mean, before it goes to the public. So yeah,
I mean, I
I
think,
mean,
well, Mortal Kombat released to press early, and I think that's because it has such a meaty story mode, and we're not even getting a story mode to Street Fighter V until like May, I think.
mm,
So,
right. No. Well, I just, I don't know. I really want, like, I'm hoping you will have fun with the game, but something tells me you won't have as much fun as you did with Mortal Kombat. I don't know why.
from reviews, not reviews, but impressions that I'm seeing already, I shouldn't have
Yeah.
read any of them because they're going to cloud my judgment. And right now, it sounds like basically the word I'm getting is that this is going to be a great game when they finish it, which is like, oh,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
that does not sound too good, but
Mm-mm.
it doesn't necessarily have to cloud your judgment. I mean, not unless like, I mean, you allow it's still like when you play it, it's your personal experience, so don't worry about that stuff. Uh, So, like, I don't know. We have an interesting topic lined up for this week. I was like surprised to see you suggest it because it is kind of an interesting thing to ponder.
Well, basically, the topic of the week is about the annualization of video games, and and I got this, and this kind of came to me because Ubisoft announced, well, they confirmed in their investment call that yes, they are not going to have Assassin's Creed released this year, and there has been an Assassin's Creed game every year ever since Assassin's Creed 2 in 2009.
Yeah, yeah, which is
And
a lot of years.
that's
Yeah,
honestly huge.
right.
And most likely, because Syndicate did not sell as well as they had hoped, and most likely because they lost a lot of fans and consumer faith after a lot of the problems with Unity.
Probably, probably,
I mean,
but
the people that got
it,
Syndicate they love Assassin's Creed no matter what. Um,
I don't know. It's very difficult to assess this thing because it could be that, which you just said, in combination with like um, people just getting a bit maybe tired of the whole formula, which is essentially remained kind of the same. I mean, when you think about it, like we haven't seen like I don't know. I mean, it's stupid to compare it to Mass Effect, but we're now like waiting for this game, and it's been a while since we played it. So you build up your hype, you build up your excitement and all that stuff. So that may have kind of dwindled over the years. That's just like my theory. I don't know if it makes any sense to you, but it could be it could be like it could factor into this like uh, people leaving because oh it's just another Assassin's Creed game. I mean if we look at other like franchises, what we have like Call of Duty. This was released every year, wasn't it?
yeah, Call of Duty releases
For
every
a
year, but
while.
that still sells like crazy every time. So
Well, they do push it in terms of like technology and gameplay and multiplayer, and they really polish the fuck out of that thing. So
mhm.
it's an enormous project always. So
But I also think
I don't,
in Activision's defense for that, at least they use three studios that they rotate. So it's not like the same studio every year is constantly putting it out. Like Black Ops 3 last year was Treyarch, Infinity Ward is getting it back again for this year. Most likely the next year will be the developer, I can't remember their name, who did Advanced Warfare. So,
oh jeez, yeah,
so
I can't remember
yeah,
either.
so if you think about it, like these developers that put out a Call of Duty, they have 2.5 years to get, another one done. Versus,
Mm.
Ubisoft, it's the same main studio, so it's like most likely while they're still finishing up Assassin's Creed, they're already working on the next one. So there's never a break for them. It's
But
just
is there another like top franchise with a annualization
oh my gosh,
like every?
Madden. I mean, all the sports games annualize
Well,
every year.
I can't talk much about those.
Well, I can because I mean, my husband, he used to really be into those, and he was just like, okay, I can't keep getting into this for just like a couple of tweaks a year, which is pretty much what it is. Like the best way
mm,
to stay with Madden is to get it like every few years because then it's like, oh, it's an entirely new game. Because he
mm,
played Madden, was it 15? I think it was Madden 15, and he hadn't played a Madden game since '07, and he was like, "Wow,
mm,
for the first time in years, this feels like a brand new experience." And I'm pretty sure
mm.
that FIFA and even if you push Blake enough with his love with MLB the Show, he will even admit that yes, there's just little bitty microscopic changes to that every year. And that's why a lot of hockey fans would fall out of NHL and like, okay, we're not paying for the same game just with new numbers and new last names on the
What
jerseys.
about like FIFA? Uh, Blake played that a lot, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about FIFA to be able to say if it. I imagine it's somewhat the same, but at least like in the past couple of years, FIFA has been pretty good about bringing in new features. Like for example, this
I
year
know that.
they brought in
Yeah,
women's soccer.
I know that they overtook like Pro Evolution Soccer, which was always their
Mm-hmm.
like main, counterpart, like and main competition. So other than sports games, there's I don't know, Far Cry wasn't like in that category, right? They
No,
had like
because
right.
there was
They sk-
at least two
they
to three
skipped a
years in
year.
between
Yeah,
Far Cry 3
yeah,
and
yeah,
Far
yeah.
Cry 4.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
let's see, Far Cry 4 was 2014, and now Primal's 2016, so at least they had a year gap in there. I mean, Halo has definitely never been franchised.
Yeah.
I apologize that this has popped up. Dear God, you turn that
What?
off. Oh, I had an Nvidia thing pop up. It's like, you need to upgrade. Like, okay, do you have to like pop up on my main monitor? That's nice.
You need to upgrade.
Well,
Oh
like,
dear.
well, I need to update the drivers. That'd
Okay.
be funny if it was like, no, you must upgrade. We've already like put this order in. It'll be delivered to you in 2 to 3 days. No.
Yes, but I'm in the middle of vidcast. No, no, it's the perfect time for you to upgrade right now.
Yes, let's update your
Uh,
drivers right now.
yeah. It's a. I'm just wondering if like this annual thing is kind of a. Does it make? I mean, would it make a difference if I don't know they didn't if they skipped 1 year for in the case of say Assassin's Creed or Call of Duty? Would it be like people would still want it as much and be would they even be more excited or would they be like, oh, we need this every year? Because I kind of doubt that. I mean, people are generally get pissed off when they get the same kind of stuff. We always like cry out for new IPs, and there's so little of those lately. So
I would
it's
say, but with Assassin's Creed, yes, this is definitely a good thing that for them taking a break. Because if we look at the like when they started annualizing, I remember I was at a Darksiders 2 preview event, so back in 2012, and someone was talking about, oh, I hate Assassin's Creed. It's an annualized franchise. I was like, no, it's not. And then I was like, wait, yeah, okay.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's so is
it's just, I guess, because I'd pushed
um,
Revelations out of my mind.
hmm.
So,
You do not like Revelations.
no, and I think I'd pushed Assassin's Creed 3 was out in 2012, wasn't it? Was it 2012 or 2013? I don't
Yeah,
remember.
the kind of botched. I mean, the worst
But
of
anyway,
them
but
all
regardless, if you
for
think
me.
about the releases that it's had, like, if all
Hmm.
the releases that's had, we can probably count on one hand how many were both loved by consumers and critically acclaimed. Like, I know the first Assassin's Creed, that kind of has a love-hate relationship with consumers, but like critically, people loved it because it was so new. It was such a fresh idea, and the whole science fiction
Yep.
aspect of it, and everyone was cool about it. Assassin's Creed 2 built upon it and improved it, and then
Yeah,
Brotherhood built
yeah,
upon that and just vastly improved everything. So you had those
yeah.
three in a row, and then you got Revelations, which was, I mean, I think that was a hit or miss. Like, you either loved it or it didn't hit with you.
I liked
Assassin,
it because it. I personally loved. Uh, I mean, well, a lot of people did actually the character of Ezio. So this was like finally wrapping up that story,
mm-hmm,
and I finished it, and that was okay. I mean,
yeah,
and there were a lot of extras, not extras, but like those, side missions like Prince of Persia style, where you have the platform. I'm pretty much like was very into
mm-hmm,
those because the way you unlock certain armors and all that stuff.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was kind of cool. So that remained in Revelations. I'm not saying that like Revelations was a revelation or in any way. It did not bring anything like really interesting or new to the franchise. What I keep uh, thinking that what they just don't have sort of the balls to make the switch to modern day, or if that would even be a good idea, like a modern day setting or a futuristic setting,
I don't
because
think
that's
anybody
kind of
wants to
where
play it. I think everybody
I don't
likes being
know.
in the history.
Yeah, it does. It's so far it's been cool. I mean, but no matter where you go, you're always gonna end up in a kind of, I don't know, hidden blades,
Well,
jumping
but that's
from
the whole.
rooftop to rooftop, the
But that's
parkour thing.
but that's the whole thing about being an assassin, and maybe they have beaten it to the ground because it has been every year. Because I was going to say after that was that Assassin's Creed 3 had severe problems, then Black
Mhm.
Flag was everyone just
Well,
loved Black Flag, and then
if
Unity
if
was you know.
Black Flag was pretty good. It was a very interesting jump. I didn't like the main character that much, or the story itself. It was kind of bleh for me, but I
Yeah.
loved the whole like sailing,
Hmm.
thing. That was
Oh, I
pretty awesome.
forgot that for Unity they tried to release. They didn't try. They released two Assassin's Creed games that same year. They released Rogue and Unity. So you're talking about,
Yeah.
has, the studio overall kind of stretched a little thin,
Mm.
and then Syndicate. So, and it almost is kind of like a Guitar Hero scenario, because it was like a new Guitar Hero, like not every year, but it felt like every 6 months, or a new expansion or a new
Yeah.
pack
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
something. Because
Right.
Activision, they found this wonderful cash cow, and then they just milk the thing
Yeah.
dry.
I'm not saying like but I'm not saying that the modern to switch to modern is the like way to go for the franchise, but it needs to go somewhere now. I mean, if you just keep giving like all those, we travel to the past, or I don't know what's the latest setting, or did they reveal it? Was it like Egypt, or what
That's the
was it?
rumor.
That's the rumor, right? So it's not certain yet. So I don't know. I'm trying to think in terms of like something new mechanics. I don't know. There are a lot of cool things you can do with the futuristic aspect of an assassin's career. Long-ranged weapons, I don't know, blowing stuff up, explosives, all that stuff.
They're never going to go that way until they
I
wrap
know.
up
I would like
what
to see.
what they're doing now, because
Yeah,
everything what they do it now is that it's all set in modern, because the modern day assassins are trying to find where the assassins of old hid these relics, where the Templars have hidden them, so they can get them before
right.
the Templars. So a futuristic
But,
setting, I don't see that ever
no,
happening.
no, not this.
I mean,
Yeah,
but you're saying about like new ideas. Well, you need to play Syndicate, because
yeah.
as a friend of mine told me, it's the best Batman game ever,
Why Batman then?
because you rappel up. You
Oh, the
just jump down
repelling.
and stab, and then you just rappel yourself straight up.
So it's not just stab it, it's repel.
Yes.
Rappel,
And it
repel.
and
That's
it does bring in like a whole new idea with like the gang warfare. I mean, because and you with two different characters, you have one who's very confrontational and very kind of not assassiny, and then you have one that is very
mm,
traditional assassin, who relies mostly on stealth and being
yeah.
quiet and sneaking. So and you're and there's a lot of like you do a lot of highway robberies. There's the carriage. There's the carriage warfare. There's the not really warfare, but the carriage battles. And
Mm.
I mean, I got a big kick out about robbing ships. And not to mention high train robbery. So and
You have so
your
you sound
base is
very
on a
ambitious.
train.
Yeah, yeah. You sound very ambitious and so like you sound when you speak of these things like it's very liberating to be to be on the edge of living on the edge and like robbing stuff, like,
Oh
stabbing people.
well, no, I mean I'm just saying that
It's therapy.
it's different. I mean, compared to Unity, and I never played Rogue. I have Rogue, and I told Rogue it was great, but compared to Unity, a lot of the gameplay is vastly different. So,
It's Rogue was fine actually. Rogue was fine, but Unity is. I mean, I like Unity.
mhm.
To be honest, I played it on the console, so I did not. And like I don't know, a few months after it was released, so they
So you
polished it
already
in
got
the
all the
meantime.
patches, yeah.
Yeah, I got all the patches, the big patches, and it wasn't, as fucked up as it was on the PC. But so I did not feel that, sting of
Hmm.
a lot of people did in the beginning, which is cool. So I don't hate as much. I do know for a fact that people like seriously were. I wouldn't say they quit from the franchise entirely and they're like, we're not going to play it, but they were really pissed off and they were like, I'll just, wait. I'll just play something else, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
So it's I'm trying to think like of a seriously, disappointing, because we're just sticking to Assassin's Creed now. For some, I'm trying to think of a franchise that was, I don't know, that did not benefit from yearly releases. I'm trying to like.
Well, I think the problem is when you get to the year release, for some reason, Call of Duty is exempt from this, but anything else, it
Yeah.
gets oversaturated in the market. Like Guitar Hero is the prime example. Rock Band probably was, because Rock Band had a whole bunch of expansions as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, we haven't seen that yet with the sports games, so like it's weird. So so you got Call of Duty and Madden are just they're the
Mm.
only ones who have tapped into this magic annualization, and they still get the incredible sales. I mean, it's really kind of funny because every time I go to E3 and we go to the EA press conference, and immediately Twitter like goes nuts over all this sports stuff. God, fuck sports. I'm like, yeah, this is what pays. This is what keeps EA's lights on. You know, of course
Yeah,
they're gonna have
that's a
sports.
good phrase. This is what keeps EA's lights on.
It is. I mean, I'm not wrong. I mean, the
It's what
sport.
feeds the families
Yes,
and the children.
I mean
Yeah.
that's what helps them so that they can actually push out the different ideas.
Well, it is a multi-billion-dollar business. I mean, God knows how many people depend on yearly releases. So you
Right.
nailed it there. I'm afraid to say.
Yeah, and and
It's an
Activision.
economical thing.
And Activision's the same way. Like two things keep Activision's lights on: World of Warcraft and
Yeah. Well, a lot of things actually.
and
They
Call of
own
Duty.
a
Well,
lot of things.
you know what I mean, because like I got their.
Yeah, I know
their,
what you mean. Of
their,
course. Yeah.
Okay, here's another example. Skylanders has been annualized
Oh,
every year
Jesus.
since it's
Oh,
released, and this last year with Supercharger was the first year they did not make this huge overwhelming profit from Skylanders because they're getting burned out. And I could see Disney Infinity go the same way. If they announce
Wait a minute. Sorry, we were talking about Activision.
Mhm.
The Skylanders is work of Disney. What is? Does it have anything to do with Activision? Or?
Skylanders
It's-
is an Activision property.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah. So this was the first year that they did not have this overwhelming profit from Skylanders Superchargers. And from people I talked to, they're like, oh, we just don't want to buy more toys. We don't want to get this whole other
I'm
game.
curious who really has the most financial gain from that one, because it must be Disney. It's their franchise.
Skylanders?
Right?
I'm talking about Skylanders.
Or
I'm not talking about Disney right now. I'm talking about Skylanders.
I got sorry, confused. You did say Disney Infinity.
I did. Well, I'm
Did you?
talking about like how they're annualized, and I was saying that if they announce a Disney Infinity 4.0, who's going to be interested?
Right.
Because the
Yeah.
big problem with Disney versus Skylanders is, like, at least with Skylanders, when you buy the new Skylanders game, any of the past Skylanders you can use in the main game. Whereas in Disney, any of the past characters you can only use in the toy box.
Ah.
And so, like, any of the play sets that you have, and the play sets open up different levels in Disney Infinity, you can't
Yeah.
use a play set from 2.0. It's like you can't play the Guardians of the Galaxy play set
I know.
with Disney
Right.
Infinity 3.0. And that's a deal breaker for some people, because parents will come to me and they're like, well, they want to play Star Wars, but they want to play this too. Do we have to buy both games? I'm like, yeah, you do. And they're not happy about it.
Right. I know. I mean, kids are even like not happy about that. I mean, when you think about it.
I mean,
So,
at least Nintendo with their amiibos, they have found a way to use these across multiple games. So that's genius on Nintendo's part. So when they collect these amiibos, it's not like, oh, this can only be used for this one game. No, they can be used, across a variety of things. Like, I know for a fact that the Link amiibo can be used in both Hyrule Warriors, Super Smash Brothers, and I believe Mario Kart Racing. I mean, that's 3 games right there that you can use your little Link amiibo. So, like, I did not get Gabe Disney Infinity 3.0. He wants it now because he wants to play Star Wars. But my whole thing is, like, it's just I have to buy a whole nother game. I have to buy all these other toys, and we can't even use your Disney Infinity 2.0 stuff with it. At least, like, and he doesn't enjoy the toy box so much. He kind of does when he figured out it's kind of like a Minecraft for Disney Infinity characters, but he gets bored with it. He wants to be able to put the Hulk in Star Wars, and I have to say, I think that's a cool idea too, but you can't.
No, you can't. It would be a collision of worlds, Carrie.
Well, that's another thing that Lego
Different
Dimensions
worlds.
does well,
Right.
And
Yeah. Oh my. Yes. That's pretty cool, and I think people love that. I actually I was kind of, because like if you pull it off and people find it funny,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to want to buy it. People are
Right.
going to want to watch it as well because of the hilariousness. So that's a pretty good recipe to follow. But again, all of this stuff we're talking about right now is the very few companies who can manage this, and they're like sitting at the very top of the industry. As for smaller studios, modest studios, or even independent studios, you cannot make a yearly game.
There's not enough
It's in,
people.
there's
Not
not
enough.
enough people. You don't have the manpower to make it, or to, God forbid, polish it. That's at least like the minimum amount of time to make a playable game, as in like a demo, a playable thing, is 1 year. If it's like a serious project where you have multiple levels, you have level design, you have like characterization, story, or whatever, and not the most basic gameplay, just something a bit more elaborate with choices and stuff. So that's a year, 1 year minimum, and then you need additional polishing time.
Mm-hmm.
And in most cases now the betas and feedback from all sorts of tests. So these annual things are actually they're restricted to a few publishers. I mean, who have the most manpower behind it. So I don't think it kind of is cool to have these games, kind of like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, because
is it, or is it like, well, there's gonna be another Call of Duty
I think
again?
it is, in a sense, that it maybe allows sort of gaming to evolve faster, if you know what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, because each time they keep pushing in a certain direction. I know this to be true of Call of Duty, for instance, because I was like skeptic, to be honest, when I tried Black Ops for the first time. The multiplayer beta, I was like, I'm not going to enjoy this. And I ended up enjoying it, even though I've played previous, Call of Duties and multiplayer, single player, and it still somehow grabs you in a kind of in the same way, but yet you keep getting new things from it. That's what I'm trying to say. And so that may be the thing that's pushing studios to keep making something new. At the same time, I think it sort of kills our we're going to say dream of new IPs and stuff. So you have very few examples where we see new IPs and brave endeavors from other developers. So I can't say that it's something it's just they keep milking the same franchises. If that's why I kept talking about, like, it would be cool to see something different in Assassin's Creed. At the very least, maybe I know they have enough money. They could try some sort of spin-off or something, just to like move away from the classic,
They did.
Yeah.
It's called the Assassin's Creed Chronicles, and only the first one was good.
Sure. That's a good example. Unfortunately, they what was the last one called, which you played?
Russia. Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia.
Yeah, Russia and India. I mean, those are okay to me. I like those efforts. See, okay, that's also in the milking category, definitely. But at least it's something different. I don't know.
Yeah.
Although it did remind me of Prince of Persia, I must admit. And while we're on the subject, I really want a new Prince of Persia game, and every year I'm disappointed because they don't announce it. So I'm hoping.
No, you're gonna get Watch Dogs 2 and like it.
Oh, you had to say the words. I'm not.
See,
yeah.
and I'm kind of wondering a little bit if maybe the reason why they're pushing Assassin's Creed, partly to give it a break and maybe make a more polished experience, and choose also
Maybe.
because they already have Watch Dogs 2 on the list. Now, granted, Watch Dogs 2 is just for they said through the fourth quarter, which means that they have up until March 2017 to release it, so it may not even be out this year. But I almost wonder if they're doing that because they might have maybe too much stuff releasing and they didn't want to.
That's probably the case, and they don't have that's probably
Because
throwing.
Microsoft definitely suffered from that this fall.
Yeah.
Because they had Halo 5 and then Rise of the Tomb Raider, and releasing Rise of the Tomb Raider as a platform exclusive on the same day as Fallout 4 was a big mistake. And everyone's like, well, and so when could they have done it? Well, if it was in December, it would have been lost. If
Mm,
they wouldn't have done it in October because they wanted Halo
yeah.
be the premiere.
Yeah.
It may not have been ready by September. They didn't want to push it to 2017 because of the agreement they made with Square Enix for the timed exclusivity. I don't know if they releasing it the week before or several weeks after would have helped. Probably not, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I don't know. It's weird because I don't know what Ubisoft is doing anymore. I mean, Watchdog was interesting when it was announced because it gave people a lot of hope. Oh my God, this is a new thing. It really does look like it's a new thing. And then
See,
it
to
was
me,
just kind of something
it never
too
looked like a
similar
new
to.
thing.
Oh, that you don't remember that first trailer that like got everybody
I
so
do,
crazy?
and I was in the press conference going, "Yeah, I've already played this shit." And it was crappy in that other game I played, and this is going to be just as crappy. Oh, I was so right.
Oh yeah, you were. I don't know. I must admit, I was like
Because I came out of the
very.
press conference and everyone was like, "That was the best thing ever." I was like, "What was? I didn't see anything great in there." Like Watch Dogs. I'm like, it's been done, people. Like, no, this is brand new. No, it's that idea's already been done, and it sucked. Then this is gonna suck too. And yep.
Yep, they did cloud our judgment.
Hashtag Carrie was right.
You can use that one. Okay, feel free.
Yeah,
Then I
right.
was hoping they would push, the boundaries somewhat with that one, which they didn't. It just was like a GTA, a very poor GTA clone. It was like GTA without the cool, controversial stuff, which although it's, always like over the top and exaggerated and totally grotesque at times, it's still there's a whole other part that's fun. And it's not just that. It's like the game design and all that stuff, which Rockstar nails every time. That's what Ubisoft failed to do. So we didn't have a new cool IP. We just had a generic stupid game nobody liked. It was
And
very like it was just mediocre at best.
yeah,
And then they just killed off. Well, they didn't kill off. They just like put Prince of Persia somewhere. And like, we're not going to do that. We have Assassin's Creed, which is fine. But then what are you doing with this like thing now? Why are you not making those games anymore? Is it like they ran out of ideas? They killed the studio. Nobody wants to make it. I don't understand.
we got Just Dance, man. What more do you want?
Mm. That makes it all worthwhile. And
At least we got
yeah, I don't know what.
South Park, the fractured but whole. I'm looking forward to that. And the thing is, I didn't realize there was actually a
How can you? How
the fractured but whole.
how can you not be excited about them? Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Can we actually form some sort of
Well, didn't Ubisoft
concrete
also
conclusion?
used to annualize their Tom Clancy games? Wasn't there
Yeah.
always a Tom Clancy game every
Well, I
year?
don't know.
Because like it
Honestly,
was
well, there
either
was Splinter Cell, but I don't think Splinter Cell was annual.
I mean, like it rotated. Like there was Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, then there was Tom
Right,
Clancy's
they
Ghost
had that.
Recon, and there's
Rainbow
Tom
Six,
Clancy's Rainbow Six. I think they rotated
Ghost
it.
Recon was never that was like very there was like there was a lot of time between I think Ghost
Well,
Recon
no,
games.
that's what I'm saying. They rotated every year. 1 year was Splinter Cell, 1 year is Ghost Recon, 1 year is Rainbow Six, and then there's it's kept.
Yeah, it was kind of
Yeah,
a rotation. Yeah,
but there was always a Tom
I
Clancy
think
because they needed everyone to know that they had Tom Clancy's name.
yeah, Ubisoft I think did a lot of cool things by investing in a lot of smaller projects and studios like Child of Light and all that stuff. I mean that was cool
And
to see.
Rayman, I mean, people love Rayman.
Well, Rayman, I don't know when was the last one released. It's been a while now.
The one that was supposed to be Wii U exclusive,
Legends? No. Yeah.
Origins. I think wasn't it Rayman Origins?
Or Legends or Origins?
Yeah, one of those two is.
Legendary Origins.
There you go.
I'm, okay. Legends is the first thing I'm getting on Google. It could be that was 2013.
It was whatever one was supposed to be a Wii U exclusive, and then
It's a
it got
sequel
pushed.
to. Okay, so Legends. Sorry, was the sequel to Origins. That's what it says.
Okay, that makes sense because because there was that big thing that's supposed to be because Ubisoft was right. They were somehow this has become like a Ubisoft podcast, but like they
Well, I
because
mean,
they were very supportive of the Wii U. Like, they were like, we got Rayman, exclusive Rayman game, we got Zombie U, and then the install base for it never happened. So they delayed Rayman and made it multi-platform, which pissed off a whole bunch of
I don't.
people.
Yeah,
And
but I think the idea behind that is that the Wii was generally like for a time the most like successful console in terms of sales, if you can remember.
oh
I
yeah,
can't say
yeah,
that for the Wii U, but like that's where the most of the money was in terms of like hardware sales. So I think they saw, and Rayman was a pretty cool franchise that was kind of universal, so you could play it, your kid can play it. It
right.
has co-op in it, and it's colorful, cartoony, and fun, and blah blah blah. There's your fucking
Yeah,
seller.
but my thing is like, and I think Ubisoft getting behind the Wii U was more than just the fact that the Wii U had this huge install base. They were looking
Yeah,
at because they found some really interesting ways to use the hardware, especially
right.
what they did with Zombie U with the gamepad.
I heard about that. Yeah, I know.
The way that they used the gamepad in the Rayman game, like when they said it was going to go multi-platform, my first thing was like, they're going to have to really redo the game
Yeah,
mechanics.
sure.
So, yeah, and I mean that was really because they were really excited about it. I mean their E3 press conference that year was pretty much like Wii U, Wii U, Wii U. We are so excited, and then no one bought a Wii U. Like I didn't even get
It's in
mine for like a year later.
right, but it's interesting, like to see. Like I remember, I was like my daughter she still keeps asking me. She saw like Rayman for the first time. I think it was Origins on the 360,
Mm-hmm.
which was like years back. I
Mm-hmm.
was like maybe 2011 or something, and she loved it, and she played it for a little while. And to this day, she keeps asking when can I play it again. Uh, and there's just no Rayman game I don't have it. I don't have it on PC. I don't have it on my PS4. And even though years have passed, and she's played a lot of games, she loves a lot of games on the PC and on the PlayStation 4. She now likes she enjoys the hell out of Unravel now. So and she still keeps asking about Rayman because there's something something has drawn her into
Well, get
that.
her the more recent one. Get her Rayman Legends.
Yeah, I definitely will. I mean, because
That's got to be on
uh,
sale somewhere by now.
yeah, I have no idea, to be honest. One thing at a time, I guess. Unravel was fun. But I was thinking, can we like form some sort of conclusion? Are these like annual games a good thing or a bad thing, or is it a bit of both?
I think it ultimately depends on the franchise because
Yeah, well, of course.
I mean, a lot of consumers, they hear about another Call of Duty that so many eyes roll, and at the same time, how many millions of copies get sold? So it's appealing to somebody's,
Hmm.
some group of people somewhere. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and
You mean people keep buying them, which means,
right.
well, they keep making them because people keep buying them or
Well,
something.
there's that, but I think it's
Yeah.
also a matter of fact that you got Madden and Call of Duty and all that, and you also have to remember
Mm.
that the whole. I don't want to. This is going to sound like I'm minimalizing, minimizing
Um, minimizing.
the efforts here, but they're not these big overarching games. If you because Madden is meant like they're mostly multiplayer focused, and so it's not like, and yes, you might play 40 hours in multiplayer, but you're not playing 40 hours in multiplayer over all these different scenes and decision making and this and that. It's
Yeah.
the kind of here's your set maps, and then you buy new maps. And um,
Mm.
did you notice that you buy new maps? So it's not like you get new maps. You usually buy the new maps. And with
Yeah.
Madden, it's they do code it so that the teams play like how they normally play.
Sure.
That's their goal, is to make it that you just can't win the Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills. No one would believe that. So that because or if you do, you're on a really steep climb, because they're still going to make the Patriots and the Broncos and the Panthers really high up there and high caliber. I remember years ago when the NCAA was still a franchise, and Sean would buy it because he always wanted to play as Baylor, and you couldn't win shit as Baylor because back then Baylor was so bad and you kept getting penalties for clipping and all this stupid stuff.
So they really make it authentic.
Yes, they do their best to make it authentic. So
That's kind of cool. That NBA had the same thing.
So I mean, you have that in there, sure, but still every game is, it's still, a football game. And yes, they have different things with the Madden trading and all that stuff, but it's still technically kind of a smaller thing versus, so you take like Assassin's Creed where you're talking about 20, 30 hours in the single player experience where it's this huge open world. Annualizing something like that, corners get cut, as we have seen with Assassin's Creed 3, Assassin's Creed Unity, and other things like that. So
that
again,
has consequences because they keep pushing these, studios to with a ridiculous deadline. I mean,
right. And the something with Skylanders, it's not that the game is poorly executed because it's not. They're flawless.
Right.
But people are tired of the same thing.
I just remember like Assassin's Creed 2 was developed with, I just keep remembering that like one statistic which was frightening in a way, that 300 people actually worked on that game, and the development lasted for 2 or 3 years, and it still had bugs in it. It does not, that kind of thing, it doesn't send you a message, oh my god, these people are idiots. It's just how it goes.
Right.
And they've also, made step-ups in the technology. The technology changes, the software changes, it's a dynamic thing. So I think it's pushing the developers too much. Somebody has to work on that shit.
Again, depending on the game.
Of course, I'm not saying that's in every that's the every case scenario, but still, I think we can safely say that those kinds of games will always have buyers. I
guess we'll see if Destiny gets annualized.
Oh Jesus!
I mean, because year one you got Taken King, which was almost a brand new game, and now you're talking about getting Destiny 2 next year. So
that's pretty fast for an MMO.
Are they going to hide Destiny 3 by the following year, doing an expansion for 2? Or
I'm just thinking when Guild of Wars was a pretty highly praised game. So how long was it that they between 2 and the
even
original.
Blizzard puts at least 2 years in between their expansions.
Okay, so Guild of Wars was released in 2012, and the first game was released in 2012. No, I don't get this. Could it be the same year? No.
No, there's no way.
No. It's weird because it says on Wikipedia it says Guild of Wars was released in 2012, and Guild Wars. I keep saying Guild Wars.
A Guild of Wars. That's
Guild
generic.
Wars. Sorry, 2005.
Okay.
Right.
That makes more sense.
So that's 7 years between sequels, and the first one had a lot of expansion packs. So I think that what people expected from Destiny was a lot of add-ons, a lot of new content, a lot of cool stuff, blah blah blah, and expansion packs. So chunks of things really yearly, not Destiny 2, which is I think what they're trying to do. I think they fucked up with Destiny after reading that whole thing on Kotaku, the investigative journalism thing.
Behind the story.
Yeah, it was obvious that the developers, anybody who was working at Bungie, was frustrated because of the technology, which was too complicated to keep producing that amount of content, which was demanded of them from the public and consequently from the publisher. You need to make this fast. People want this. Well, it takes me a whole month to implement a simple thing. So that kind of opened my eyes. And I think that the move to make Destiny 2 was to put the developers into in sort of a working environment that's easier to make stuff. Maybe they need to, polish and use different stuff, when they're making it, because clearly that doesn't work very well with Destiny. if it did work, they would keep delivering more stuff. I don't know. And then again, that studio keeps changing key personnel so fast. I really don't know what the fuck is going on.
I don't think they do either.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh hey, the CEO just left.
No big deal.
The lead writer, well, he quit.
My response
one of the best, one of the best composers, he left. He was fired. Yeah, good old Bungie, and so it's a mystery with that one, to be honest. Well, I think we've covered the AAA industry pretty much. So now we can move to another aspect of it, which is what we've been playing lately. I don't know. You want to go first, or?
Sure. I played Firewatch this weekend. My review should be going up this afternoon.
Okay, let me ask you one thing. What did you expect of the game, like, before you started playing it? Like, what was your kind of, like, thing you...
Well, from reading it and looking at the screenshots, I expected something beautiful.
Right, so you liked the visual aesthetic.
Yes,
and sure.
It definitely was beautiful, and I expected it to... because from what they were saying, it sounded like it was this big mystery based upon exploration, which I like those. Look at Murdered Soul Suspect. Looked at Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Sure. What you're saying, you are keen on the setup, on the premise, the genre.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, sure. So okay, you expected good things then.
I did.
We're talking in past tense.
Yes, and that's
I did.
And that's really all that I really want to say, because I'd rather people read the review.
I don't want to. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Push it. But
yeah, it was just. I almost want to have a podcast on this sometime about.
Sure.
About just talking about trying to force in emotion just for the sake of having emotion and not having.
Do you say an emotion?
Emotion, like an emotion.
Emotion. Okay.
Just for the sake of having emotion and not having it mean anything. Because that's...
You mean those kind of things feel forced in the sense that they can feel forced, and then you lose just what you should be getting from the experience?
I don't know about forced, but like, oh look, our game, like, we have emotional stuff too. See, this part is emotional, but then it doesn't have any. It doesn't have any bearing on the game, which is what my experience.
Yeah, I think that deserves a
Firewatch was.
A kind of discussion.
Yeah.
And a separate podcast, definitely. Okay, you want to talk about it?
I'll go into
because we're going to do a review. What else have you been playing?
So I tried to play the Homefront.
Oh God!
The Revolution beta. It was a closed beta. I watched some. At least I got to watch some of it on Twitch while I was trying to play Firewatch. I was like, playing Firewatch, going back and forth between my monitors. And
well, that must have been exhausting. Like, what are you doing, man?
But the beta it was for the 4-player co-op. Which in like the whole setting of that is that you'd be grossly outmanned and outgunned, and still trying to find a way to use teamwork to overcome the situation, because basically, like, you are these guerrilla warfare trying to scrape together these whatever weapons and whatever scrap you have to go up against like the man who has, infinite supply of ammunition, technology, all this stuff. So it really, watching, it's like, that looks really interesting, like how they're really trying to, how they have to coordinate their attacks. And it's not like Gears of War Horde mode where you just run out and just start shooting. You really have to coordinate how you're going to do it. So that looked really, really interesting. Unfortunately, I tried to log on Saturday. I kept getting kicked out of matchmaking. And I didn't have much time to keep on trying, because I had lots of stuff to do, and my husband and we decided to go see Deadpool, and that just kind of took precedence over anything else, which it should, because Deadpool's amazing. And
I'm hoping, gonna stop you for a minute. I'm hoping to see it this week. I think it arrives here on Thursday or something.
Okay.
I'm hoping to see it like with my girlfriend, so
yes, she will.
We can also, I think we can also talk about that for like a small chunk during the
Cool.
podcast. So, because I am kind of excited about it as well.
Well, if we do, we'll definitely get our explicit rating then.
Okie dokie. So you didn't get a chance basically to.
So not on Saturday, and then on Sunday,
Yeah.
like I saw that the beta was gonna. It said February 11th through the 14th. Well, I take that to mean through Sunday. Maybe it
Through
ends at
the entire,
midnight,
yeah,
or
through
maybe
the
ends
entire
that
day.
evening.
It usually means that, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I
So-
finished my Firewatch review because I needed to get that done, and then I went and turned on my Xbox at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Beta's closed. So
Yeah, that must have
Okay.
been a cool moment.
I'm like,
Oh, it's
oh,
closed.
okay,
Hmm.
yeah, that's all right. Well. Oh well,
I'm
I'm
sorry.
trying to get that platinum and Lego Marvel's Avengers, so turned that back on and went to that. So there you go.
Nice one.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do? You know, so it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Just let it go, Frozen style. So that was your.
At least you got to play your beta.
Oh, you mean Hitman?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a. It was a very. How can I put this? For like the past week, I've been, I really been sinking my teeth into XCOM 2. And all of the technical issues and woes aside, which I've had with that game, partly because I have a kind of ancient Office PC, and the the other reason being that my home PC cannot even start the game. So I was kind of like in a sort of a weird area there, but I did manage to like invest at the end. I managed to invest a lot of hours into it. So when I switched from XCOM 2 to Hitman, it was an entirely different, thing. I'll just start talking about Hitman first because it was. I did play a lot of Hitman in the past, so Absolution, contracts and all that, and it was always kind of like. It was cool, but at the same time, you're this assassin guy. So my problem is I've played. I don't feel like right comparing these two games, but somehow Assassin's Creed is what made that whole Assassin's thing cool to me. I can't get into Hitman that much personally. Although there are some very, good Hitman like
Well, but
games.
the big difference is that Assassin's Creed is more action based, where Hitman is
And
that's very
open,
much
more
stealth,
open worlds.
right?
Yeah, and more. Well, yes, there's a lot of sneaking. There's a lot of, but it's not that. It's kind of like this beta is basically a kind of it's a demo. It's single player, so you get to pull off one assassination. But that's not the point. That's not about. It doesn't show you much of the story. It doesn't spoil anything. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's just the prologue.
It's basically the prologue, but it gives you what it does give you is a chance to complete one mission, one assassination, and then see how many different ways you can pull that off. So what it does is like put a whole bunch of challenges before the player. So I don't know. You can distract guards in various ways. You can make all sorts of different kills with different objects while maintaining your stealth status. And you can kill the guy in a whole bunch of ways, your target. So you can poison him, basically pour, poison into his cup. You can, you can strangle him, you can shoot him in the face. You can knock him out and then shoot him in the face and strangle him. So for people who like to kill in different ways, it's a fabulous thing. So it was like, okay, I'm digging. I can understand this. It's a very brief, it's a very small chunk of the game. So for people who liked previous Hitman games, it has everything that's familiar to me from those older games. Everything like the disguises, the sneaking, the trying to maintain your sneakiness and being stealthy. You'd love it. I'm sure you would.
Oh no! When I got that email, like, yeah, no, this is going.
What do you mean? You didn't even look at it. You just
Nope.
forwarding to Vader.
Yep.
Vader's territory.
Well, I've tried Hitman before
it's-
at E3 one year, and it was like,
Which one? Absolution? Contract? I can't remember. I never mind.
fuck if I remember. I don't remember what year even was at E3, but I didn't get very far. I think it was the one with all the controversy with the dead nuns.
Oh, that's Absolution, I think.
Okay,
I don't
maybe.
want to sound.
Anyway,
Yeah.
So
I think
I
it
did.
is.
I think you can only do this one mission. It's kind of like what you had. You just had this one mission, and when I saw like how important stealth was in it, and if you got seen, suddenly people came out of the woodwork and were shooting at you. There's like it was worse than Deus Ex. Like there's no way you're gonna survive this. I think
But
I
yeah,
played
but
for
you
about
come on.
2 minutes. Like nope.
Come on. Yeah, I'm sorry, but you ended up liking Deus Ex, right? Because
Okay.
you could take the action.
Because you have all these options in Hitman. I felt like there was no options. You got seen, and it was just like you are dead because you can't get away from these people. Whereas Deus
That's
Ex,
true.
you can get away. There's vents to go in. You can still set bombs. You can still set bombs everywhere. And Deus Ex had, as much as I love that game, the AI was pretty damn dumb. Because there's
Okay, can I ask you this? Do you like the story in Deus Ex and the choices and the decisions more? Were you into that at all, or were you just like going through the shooting sequences and
I
the action?
I loved choices about Deus Ex until the very end because that was the dumbest thing ever.
What do you mean, the button thing?
Yes.
You
Didn't
like the
matter.
button thing.
Didn't matter anything that you chose up
I was-
until this point. Here, press a button and then you watch some file footage and he has this little speech in the end. Dumb.
Well, do you kind of get a similar thing in Mass Effect, right?
In Mass Effect 3, I suppose.
Mm.
It does it really
That's the conclusion of the
it really does
trilogy.
feel that way because it didn't matter what your Paragon points or what your Renegade points were. You had these set options, and I've never disagreed with that.
My
But I don't. But unlike fans of or the haters of Mass Effect 3, and I do the same thing with Deus Ex. I don't base my feelings on Deus Ex because of the last 5 seconds of the game. Because everything.
I actually kind of see how difficult it can be for like storytellers to end the narrative, which gives you so much choices.
Yes.
Yeah, and they want some closure because it's our story, and I can see also how it was difficult for BioWare as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to we can talk about all that, in a different podcast because I want to get back to Hitman. I remember Absolution, the nun, the nun-themed Hitman. It was, I'm this, I don't know, cool, stealthy. Well, I can, to be honest, I can never see how people can, be oblivious to a huge bald man walking around in disguise. So apart from that,
a barcode
suspension of
tattooed on his
disbelief,
neck.
yeah, exactly, and the red tie and stuff. And so at some point I was like playing and then sneaking and disguising and shooting, and it got repetitive to me very fast. And it's the same formula over and over again. The story was never any good, at least not to me. And the AI was glitchy in the last game, if I remember correctly. So you lose the challenge if you have a dumb AI. You don't have a story to, I'm just talking about the old game. So that's what I'm hoping for in this new game. So they got that stuff right. And you don't get that, sense from the beta. The beta is just basically a demo of how you can various ways to complete, one assassination, and it's cool. You have a lot of choices, which is always fine. And I know that in this Hitman game, they will be taking a more open kind of world approach, not as much as like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry, not that kind of open world, huge side missions and blah blah blah, but like more a bigger area,
And I'm
per,
wondering,
you
because
know.
it's going to be episodic, if it's going to be more
Oh,
story
yeah.
based.
I'm hoping it definitely needs a good narrative. Uh, but yeah, I will be, I will be writing my impressions like tomorrow while it's fresh. So, and it ends today. So, and it
Is it
was
already
like,
over, or does it actually end like later today?
I think it's over at like, it was 11 or something,
Yeah.
uh, CET. So I don't know, it was public if you pre-ordered it. So,
Or if you got the if you pre-ordered
and
it
if you, yeah,
digitally,
sorry.
or if you got the
And if you got the
That's
collector's,
bit my
yeah, yeah.
tongue.
Correctals edition.
If you,
Yep.
oh God, that really hurt. If you pre-order it digitally, or if you
If you
pre-order the collector's,
pre-order digitally and you collect, yeah, you really,
yeah. But if you pre-order just the retail regular copy, you don't get the beta.
yeah. Square Enix there.
I guess
Uh,
whatevs,
we'll
bro.
see. What's the so the yeah? As I say, I don't get. It's a cool sort of demo for the
It's really weird that
mechanics.
they're calling it a beta if it's single player.
That was what is bothering me.
Do you have to be
Maybe they
online?
overheard us in one of our podcasts when we were talking about how we miss single player demos for games.
Well, then call it a freaking demo. Don't call it a beta.
Yeah.
Beta insists that either you have to be online the whole time.
Maybe it's the modern hipstery term for a demo.
Do you have to be online the whole time?
Yeah, you do.
Okay,
Even
well,
though it's
then that's
single,
probably
you have
why
to
it's
be
called a
online.
beta.
Yeah, you do have to be online. I think they collect some sort of data. God knows. I have no idea how that works. I'm not technically minded.
For
Other
data
than
mining,
that,
and then stuff will randomly show up at your doorstep. So they're spying on you.
exactly.
This sweater would look
Uh,
lovely with your eyes.
Come on, I don't want to be paranoid. Like Hitman.
You don't have a PlayStation Eye, do you?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
But
Or
you
is it the
do.
PlayStation camera now, I think.
It is. What do you have that thing?
Let's see, wait, this way. Ah, right there. There's the Kinect, and then the camera's right
Oh,
on
the
top.
Kinect.
Yeah.
Right.
I got everything
could-
spying on me right there.
And they could be watching even though it's off. You never know.
If I say Xbox too loud, it might turn on.
Yeah.
Which is true.
Dang.
I've done that before.
Right. You know what we could have actually discussed now that I'm thinking, this is like totally just randomly popped up into my brain, the whole Quantum Break PC Xbox thing. But next time, I guess.
Well,
The outrage that came after the announcement from Xbox fans. Like,
you know what?
we don't have to, but
No,
let's
it's
stick to
just
the
you just can't make
top.
people happy. That's
No, I know. It's just
that's the moral of that
we
story.
should probably even leave it at that. So what else have I been playing? Well, I finally finished my review of XCOM 2. As I said,
The review's
it
up.
was it's up and it's interesting. It was an interesting kind of challenge for me, like in terms of review writing, because I am like a big fan of XCOM. So I knew I was going to enjoy it, which I did, but there is a whole like other aspect here and that's that they've upped the difficulty somewhat, So if you would, for instance, like this would be your first, jump into the like XCOM, universe, and you start from XCOM 2, you would kind of be at the beginning. You may be a bit overwhelmed with like how the enemies behave. I mean, the only cool thing is that you can save your game at any time, which leaves a lot of room for practicing.
Trial and error.
Trial and error, yeah, but it's even with that, like the entire game has a sort of clock ticking thing until the aliens get really too powerful, and then it's just over, game over. And that's like a very long. It's like an entire game, until you there's this like alien project going on called the Avatar Project, and if they finish that, if the timer for that project ends, it fills up, you lose.
Oh.
And that's like ticking constantly throughout your campaign. So whatever you do, it kind of always, you fight against basically time, so you don't have too much time to metagame and to set up your own like kind of, style of. You always, as Vince put it, like pretty good. Like you will always have to make some sort of sacrifice in certain areas. It's just XCOM is a pretty specific kind of game. It's not for everyone. I'm not sure you would, for instance, be like drawn into it because it doesn't have much of a story. To be honest,
I can tell you right now why I wouldn't be drawn into it. It's because of the gameplay.
It's a turn-based strategy.
The tactical turn-based strategy. Nope.
You never liked those things?
No. Don't.
Okay. You could not be any clearer. Yeah.
I'd rather play a platformer.
Yeah, but when you think about it, you weren't much into those either.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather play a platformer.
You just did that so you could have an excuse for not playing turn-based games.
Oh, like. Between you and Blake, I don't need to play a tactical turn-based game. You two like them.
You forgot Vince.
Well, that's for a reason. I always forget Vince.
We do tend to forget Vince. Yeah. So what I'm saying is there is that like steep, kind of a steep learning curve. So you do have to, be persistent. But at the same time, when you get into it, it's really like very rewarding game, and the cool thing is that now you can customize your characters. There's the classes are changed a bit. The squad classes and the soldier classes are kind of different, and it's cool. So you can tweak or set up your own like team of individuals, give them names, anything you like. You can make a biography and everything, and then you start.
And then you kill them off one by one.
Well, they do die often, so. But if you're a perfectionist, you will have fun. If you don't want any of them to die, and then when you actually can help somebody dying, it's kind of, it's kind of realistic and sad, in a way. Oh my God, this guy survived 23 missions and now he's dead and blah blah blah. So it has kind of that
happens.
Kind of it happens. Yep, it does. So. To summarize, I still enjoy the mechanics and I like the way they did it, but honestly, they could have. I don't know if they were pushed for time or whatever, for X's, but a lot of glitches. This wasn't just me. A lot of complaints on Reddit and on Steam.
He keeps saying that because he doesn't want to admit that his PC sucks.
But look, it's.
Or what did Blake ask you? How's Windows 95 treating you?
Yeah. Well, I didn't end up being a total noob and not checking the system requirements properly. Still, well, at any rate, I mean, Forex has promised that they are gathering all the feedback on those issues people had, and they're going to release a patch hopefully soon.
Patches. That's the PC gaming life. Actually, it's console gaming life. It's a gaming life now. Patches.
It is, but it kind of pissed me off. I mean, I love gaming on my PC. I always have, and now that I'm for the past year or so, I was surprised how much I enjoyed the PlayStation, which I never had before. I was had the Xbox 360, so that's cool. But every time I switch back to my PC after spending such a long time on the PS4, is I'm not saying the PS4 doesn't have, and PlayStation Network doesn't have its own set of problems, which it does. It often goes offline, especially here in Europe. There are problems, when you want to log in a game and you can't, and blah blah blah. And every game requires you to do so. Most of them, anyway. But every time I switch to the PC, it's a whole new world of problems. Unless you have the supreme machine, and even if you do. I feel I've wasted a lot of time searching through forums and trying to get my game to work or
I
something.
thought that was the appeal of playing on PC was,
No,
problem
well,
solving
yeah,
and
there's like
troubleshooting. It's
this.
just you like to get in there and tinker and solve the problem and figure it out and
Right,
figure out
because
which
we're all
it's
hackers,
like which
and
DLL files do I need to turn off and what do I need to do this with my DirectX? You
yep,
laugh,
it's a
but I
fetish.
remember my friend Chris talking about. He's like, well, I figured out how to turn off this DLL file and how
You,
to roll back my DirectX. I'm
yeah,
like, oh my god.
you feel like a fucking genius because you got that thing to work. You did what the developers should have done. No, it's cool to have that sort of freedom with your product if you don't want that, but it kind of like really bothers me. I just want to enjoy the fucking game. Then again,
Spoken like a true console peasant.
yeah, I'm not a console player. I just want a fun game. That's just the thing. I don't care about the platforms anymore. I used to when I was a teenager, like a pimple-faced asshole, basically. Trying to PC is the best. Well, you know what? It really doesn't matter as long as the games are good. I don't care which platform I'm playing it on. Yeah. Anyway, I urge people to like read the review, even though it's late. Sorry about that, but at least it's up there now, and I will say that it's not editor's choice. I was hoping that
I was
it would
surprised.
turn out to be. Yeah. And I had a pretty surprising moment where during the weekend where I managed to find some spare time, even in the face of all the assignments. I played a bit of Unravel with my daughter, and that was surprisingly fun. I say surprisingly because we did give it a kind of a it's still a good score, but I just didn't
8,
expect.
wasn't it? I mean, that's a good game.
It was an 8. Yeah, it was an 8. It was an 8. It's a good score, but it has that sort of universal appeal. It's for kids and for adults alike. It's like playing maybe 45 minutes of it, up to an hour maybe. So I didn't encounter any potentially frustrating, platformish physics-based, problems where I'm like, oh, what am I supposed to do? So far it's pretty cool. I love the world. I like it's very laid back. You just enjoy it. That I miss gaming like that. Just relaxes me. XCOM is totally different. It's not a stress-free environment.
No, you like
still,
Dark Souls too, so.
No, that's punishing. XCOM is not XCOM is challenging and rewarding. Dark Souls and Bloodborne is just punishing the fuck out of you. Shall we try and wrap it up? I think we went on for quite some time.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening and or watching. Stop laughing at me. For listening and or watching. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel to get these vidcasts in your email inbox every week. You can also subscribe to us via podcast format on SoundCloud or iTunes. If you just really want to listen to us both ways, that's cool. Also on our YouTube channel are gameplay videos. Like right now, I have day 1 of Firewatch up on there. If you want to see a little bit more of what I'm talking about in my review, whenever that should go up in a few hours.
Can I just interrupt you? I will also add a bit of footage from Hitman as well.
Okay, cool. And so we'll have some gameplay videos. We'll have unboxings and other random stuff. So be sure to subscribe to us there. You can also follow us on Twitter. The site is action_trip. Urash is Urevader, and I am at Crunchy Chocobo. And of course, we ask you keep on reading actiontrip.com every day. All right, so we'll see you next Monday. Maybe we'll be a little more excited because we won't be so tired from reviewing shit all weekend.
And we'll be talking about Deadpool.
And probably Street Fighter. And
something else.
I don't know if I'll be playing anything else. I shouldn't say that, 'cause I bet there's something waiting for me in my inbox.
Well, any gaming topic, we always come up with stuff because it's always cool to talk about the industry. And there's
always something to say about the industry. What can I say?
Yeah, right. Well, goodbye from me, and can't wait for next week, to be honest. I love talking about this stuff.
All right, see you then.
Bye.
Jinx.